Hi guys, in this video I want to make another cell means plot. I made a cell means plot in the tutorial video on two-way analysis of variance. I made it in the very last part 3, and I just wanted to make one more of these because there is a problem when it comes to which factor, either factor A or factor B to use as in your legend section, and which factor to use in the horizontal axis. So hopefully this video clears that up a bit, and you can make your own decision. So before I jump in, let's just talk about the factors here. Factor A is loom. I'm just using this convention of factor A being the one summarized on the first column. And factor B, I'm going to call supplier, because that's what's going across the 4 columns over here. Alright, and loom has 2 levels, namely Jetta and Turk. Supplier has 4 levels clearly. There's 4 suppliers. Okay, so then when I go to do my cell means plot, what I did over here, understanding the data, is helpful in making that decision of which factor to use on the horizontal axis and which to use in the legend section. Okay, so as a rule, as a helpful kind of hint, use the factor that has the most levels as the horizontal axis, on the horizontal axis, and use the other factor as the legends. So here, if I use factor B by that method, I'll end up with supplier on the horizontal axis of my chart. There'll be 4 suppliers and 2 levels in the legend, which means really there'll be 2 lines. Okay, so we'll end up with something like that will look like this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 suppliers, and then I'll end up with 2 lines. I don't know what they'll look like. The 2 lines will be connected to the 2 levels of factor A, so there will be a legend indicating that. Okay, and the 4 kind of notches or spots on the horizontal axis will be connected to factor B. Okay, and the alternative would be to have 4 lines and 2 notches. So this is if I put loom on the horizontal axis, I'll end up with 4 lines. It's just more difficult, I feel. I think a little more difficult to interpret this and much cleaner to interpret this. But it's not that this is right and this one's wrong. It's just a cleaner look. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's quickly do this because I've already gone through the two-way analysis of variance procedure. So I will mention that this has replication, so it's 2-factor with replication, and I will mention that this data is perfectly set up to be input into Excel. So you see the way it is. Don't take it for granted that the data looks like this. Okay, data does not come like this. So you just have to move things around and massage it a bit so that it's in the format that Excel needs. The rows per sample here are, let's see, we have Jetta. Remember, this is the number of replications, sometimes it's called. It's the number of observations at a particular level of factor A and a particular level of factor B. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I could have picked any group and done that. So here, look, Turk and supplier 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You do need to input this into Excel. Okay, and let's get the output right here. Alright, let's move things a bit over here. I did say I'm going to use the supplier on the horizontal axis, so let's make this. Alright, so we go insert. This works on earlier versions of Excel, so insert, choose the lines with markers. Okay, and if you start out with a blank, perfect. If not, just make it blank by going over to select data and removing anything that's here. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is in the design tab, click select data. We're going to add series. Here, again, I want only 2 lines. I want 1 line per level of loom of factor A. So that's what a series is. Okay, so our first series is going to be the first level of factor A. That's the level that had the least number. That's the factor that had the least number of levels. That's why I'm choosing to make it the first series. Its values, you just get all these averages. Make sure not to take total. Make sure not to take this. Okay, so I got the average for supplier 1, 2, and 3 and 4 for the first level of factor A. Click OK. And you see we have 1 line. And now we need to add another series or line for the second level of factor A, which was Turk. And those values are the averages here. Again, be sure not to take the total. Okay, click OK. And this last bit is useful. Instead of having this 1, 2, 3, 4, which is just the default, it'd be nice to have supplier 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And the way we could do that is click Edit and highlight that row. Click OK, click OK. We have something that's useful. We can also add a legend here. Okay. We can give the axes titles. These are important things. So this is supplier, which was our factor A, our factor B, sorry. Let me indicate chose this factor to be on horizontal axis because had more levels. Okay, you don't need to write all that, but this is if you missed my reasoning. Okay, and let's insert a text box. Actually, wait, we didn't name this axis. This is the tensile strength of the fabrics. We didn't go through this example, but that's what our variable was. It was the strength of the fabric. Okay, that's the variable here. So let me just write actually variable instead of that, because this might be confusing. All right, so we have factor B here, the variable here. These are the means. Okay, and this finally, let's title this legend by going over to insert text box. This was factor A, which was loom, right? Okay, let's center that a bit. Alright, so now we can look at the cell means plot. We know how to choose which factor to be on the horizontal axis and which to be in the legend based on the number of levels. And we can look at the cell means plot. Again, let's take a quick kind of reflection on what we got here. This cell means plot shows 2 parallel series, okay, although they're slightly shifted from one another. That is a clear indication that there probably is no interaction between factor A and factor B. Furthermore, if we look at the main effects separately, we see that supplier 1 seems to have the lowest level of whatever this variable is, the lowest mean, and supplier 2 seems to have the highest, although we have to look at the hypothesis the formal hypothesis tests and the p-values to see whether these differences between these are significant or not. Okay? And as far as the loom, it seems like the Turk loom is slightly more, has slightly higher levels than the blue line, which is the Jeddah loom. Okay, that we don't know yet, but doesn't look too significant. The formal hypothesis test would tell us. And remember, by formal hypothesis test, I mean you look at the ANOVA output. Okay, and these are the p-values. All right, so we've gone through that already. I hope this was helpful. This was a follow-up with focusing specifically on the cell means plot, which is a useful tool in a two-way or two-factor ANOVA. Okay, till next time, comment, subscribe, and have a great day.